I'd like to call the Portage City Council meeting to order. Pastor Sluter, would you please come and do the prayer?
Can you hear me from here? All right. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Lord, as we begin this month, we took time and we celebrated our freedom here in this country. And we thank you, Lord, for that freedom. It reminds me of the scripture that says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom, or there's liberty. As we come to this place tonight, we pray, let that spirit of freedom and liberty reign in this room as they discuss and come together to talk about the city and the business here. We want to be in peace with one another. We want to be in one accord. So, Lord, I ask you to guide the conversation, guard our hearts, and we give you praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Nina, would you please call the roll? Oh, sorry, we have to stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilperson Alvarez?
Here.
Councilperson Pogorski?
Here.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Here.
Councilperson Clem? Councilperson Williams? Councilperson Gully?
Here.
Councilperson Zilli?
Here.
We have the approval of the June 7th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, any corrections? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. We have communications, correspondence, and announcements from the mayor. I have none at this time. So at this time, we're going to be swearing in some firefighters here. We have some new firefighters. So if you want to bring them up, Kevin, and then we will be swearing in our new park superintendent. solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws
that I will support the Constitution and the laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
execute the duties of my office as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Kevin, do you have somebody to take pictures?
Oh, Jordan's taking care of it. I'm also going to have them pin his badge. His wife's going to picture.
Thank you.
Next one's James Snyder.
I remember meeting you once. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, James Snyder, do solemnly swear
I, James Snyder, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
If you want to pin the badge,
We should have practiced this.
so Jordan.
Raise your right hand and say after me. I, Satori Chiaro,
I, Satori Chiara,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America.
the Constitution and the laws
Got that backwards.
of the United States of America,
And that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law,
to the best of my ability and according to law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Edward?
Raise your right hand, say after me. I, Edward Houghton,
I, Edward Houghton,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
execute the duties of my office as a member of the Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Don't scream.
No, thanks, sir.
Please raise your right hand and say after me. I, Nicholas Mosqueda,
I, Nicholas Mosqueda,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the laws and the Constitution of the United States of America
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Don't stand.
I think we're done with those now. You can take them.
you, Mayor.
Okay, we're going to swear in the superintendent of our parks, Diane Lito. Just Diane, okay? Hey, Kevin, you want the Bible?
Whatever you guys normally do. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that.
That's okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Diane Lito,
I, Diane Lito,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as City of Portage Parks and Recreation Department Superintendent
of City of Portage Parks and Recreation Department Superintendent
to the best of my ability and according to the law,
to the best of my ability and according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Oh, Di.
Nina, can we have the record reflect that Councilman Clem is joining virtually?
Yes.
Pat, can you hear us? Pat, can you hear us? You're muted, Pat. Great.
We have the clerk treasurer's report.
We can, Pat.
I just have, I just received an email late last week from the state. They're going to be receiving their second distribution of the ARP funds. They stated that we will receive ours shortly thereafter. And I also had given you what we received from the DLGF for the growth quotient. It's up to 5% this year. Last year it was 4.3. So that's good, as long as our AV holds.
Good news. Thank you, Nina. We have reports from standing committees.
So we met this evening, Ordinance Committee met this evening. We went over a multitude of things. We are talking about the increase in the garbage fees. We need to have the attorneys take a little bit of look at what our limitations are, raising those fees, what the inflator means, and putting something together, and we hope to have that by next month. We talked about puppy mills, trying to put some kind of an ordinance together to kind of head off at the past puppy mills and kind of the damage that they can do. We talked about a discussion on the nuisance ordinance due to the increase in calls at some of the motels within the city. Chief of Police Candiano and the attorney is going to work on that. There is an ordinance in place, but it needs some tweaking, so we're going to get that going. And then on the code enforcement warning timeframes, we're looking at changing that ordinance a little bit to have a 5-day period to get grass cut and yards cleaned up before fines and/or our street department goes out and gets those cut. Did I
What was
forget
it
anything,
before?
Brian? 10. Right. Brian, did I forget anything? No. Okay.
Great job, guys. Deb, do you have a budget report?
No, not at this time.
Then we will have reports from standing committees, city officials, sorry. Police Chief Candiano, are you here?
Hello. Good evening. Oh, geez, I'm gonna break the place. Yeah, I know. All right. Well, good evening. Before I go into my report, I just want to welcome the new firefighters and the families. Obviously, there's always a little bit of rivalry between the police and the fire, but I'll say that anybody who's choosing to, get into a job of public service, and especially first responders, I definitely appreciate that. So welcome all of you and your families too. It's whenever we swear in the officers, we kind of talk about how the families are influenced by the job they do too, and you all will be too. So appreciate you all. So, and also to our park superintendent, welcome to the team. So I look forward to meeting you and seeing you at meetings. So, all right. So down to our business here. I actually was on vacation and then came back sick, so I am kind of catching back up on everything myself, so my report's kind of short here. Actually short this time. Total incidents for June, we were at 2,838. That puts us at about an average of 94.6 per day. Seems pretty consistent with the previous months and pretty consistent with last year, so just staying pretty much on par. We're sitting at 17,637 incidents for the year. So a little update on hiring and staffing. We had a retirement over the weekend. After nearly 30 years of service, Lieutenant Ross Haynes retired from the Portage Police Department on July 10th. Wasn't necessarily, I believe, his plan to retire at that time, but due to some injuries and things, he was forced to leave a little prematurely. But long career with us, held many positions. He'll definitely be missed. So I just wanted to acknowledge him and put out there that we send him good wishes as he enters the next chapter of his life. So with that being said, with his retirement, we now have one open position, which we'll be looking to fill here in the near future. We've still got a couple officers or candidates on the hiring list, so we'll be making some calls for that. On another note, I'd like to welcome back Officer Demario Hathorn. He's be returning to work here in the next couple weeks. I've been kind of talking about him giving you guys a little bit of an update over the last couple months, but he's our officer that was overseas on a military assignment since last summer. He's back home, and he'll be returning to us. So on behalf of the department, and I'd probably say on behalf of the whole city here, I want to thank him for his service, and we're glad he's back. So we currently have 3 officers in field training and 2 officers out with injuries. So knock on wood, staffing's pretty good right now. So a couple community engagement things. We participated in the following things over the last month or so. We assisted some of the Duneland communities with fireworks on the lake that they had up at the lakefront. Real good for us, real good opportunity to get out there and meet not only citizens from our city, but the adjoining community. We did not have to take any police action, which was fantastic. I know they have a ton of people that attend that. So really we were able to just kind of engage with people as they came in and out. It was very, very nice opportunity for us to be out there. So glad that we were able to support some of our other communities, and glad that we were able to like I said, have that engagement with the community. So bike patrol, we're continuing that. It's been as big of a success as I was hoping, and probably better. We've been out in the neighborhoods. We've had officers out playing baseball, playing football, different things. Again, like I said before, just another opportunity to get out and see people, engage with them on a totally different level than we are when we're just going to calls and things. So we've actually got 2 officers out right now on the bikes. They were headed into some neighborhoods, so we're going to keep doing that as long as the weather allows us, and pretty excited about that. We also assisted Valpo. They had a large demonstration on July 4th that ended up, they didn't have any problems out there, but they definitely had a staffing issue with the amount of people that showed up. So again, helping out our neighbors. When we've had some incidents in our city, we've asked for help from other departments, so we're kind of returning the favor to some of these other communities over the last couple months. So we were glad to be a part of that. And then lastly, we did have a town hall meeting on public safety with us and the fire department. It's the summer. I know everybody's busy, so I don't know that it was, that as many people viewed it as we probably would have hoped for, but a lot of good information. We put out a lot of stuff on the police department, learned a lot of stuff about the fire department. So what we're going to try to do is put out some of that information over the next couple weeks on our Facebook page, just for those who maybe missed that they could see that. I believe it's still on the city's website if anybody is so inclined to take a watch. So, like I said, some good information, and if there's anything that comes out of that, any questions you've got or concerns that arise after you see some of that information, reach out, and we'd be more than happy to get you some answers on that. So, little update on the ARPA funds. We're finally starting to get some of our new cars on the road. You may have seen some of those. They're continuing to trickle in over the next few weeks. I think we're picking up 2 more tomorrow. So again, very excited to have those. I think we'll start seeing the savings on repairs real soon. We were kind of in dire straits there with the amount of money that was going out on the old cars that were just hitting end of life. So we should start seeing a return on that immediately as we're cycling those cars out. Another thing that you all approved was some of that money to be put towards our body armor for our SWAT team. We presented that to the Board of Works today, and that was approved, so we will be ordering body armor and 2 ballistic shields for our SWAT team. So, again, excited to have that, and it's kind of, we're starting to see the fruits of some of the debating that went on and on back in April. We're finally starting to see some of that come true, or come to fruition, so appreciate that. We also, I can't remember if I mentioned this before last meeting, but we made some repairs on our rescue vehicle. It's now fully operational, and we've actually deployed it a couple times in the last month. So we can actually see out the windows now, so it makes that a lot safer to have out there. And the next big thing that we're tackling is the body cams. Met with a couple different companies. Pretty much have an idea of where we think we want to go, probably make some type of a presentation to you all. I'd like for you guys to all understand what we're looking at and the different options that they offer and things, and try to get moving with that pretty soon. So that was obviously one of the big things that we really wanted to get going on. So then lastly, as far as recognition, just want to talk real quick about the Independence Day celebration. Unfortunately, we seem to be stuck in this cycle of negativity, especially on social media, which I try to stay away from at this point because it can be so toxic. But I think this was a really positive thing, so I just want to mention that. Pretty excited to see the turnout for the parade and the festival. 2 years ago, we really didn't have anything. The world was a different place, or at least our country was. And I know we kind of got going last year, but then this year it seemed like one heck of a turnout. No issues. I think everybody had a good time. So I was just excited to see that. I want to thank all those who planned it, those who worked it, and obviously those who attended, because it was a joint, collaboration between the city and the residents. So specifically, I'd like to give a little shout out to our reserves. We had 10 reserve officers who worked that, and when I say worked it, I mean volunteered, and they put in a total of 129 hours that day. So you can do the math, 10 officers, 129 hours. Pretty amazing. We talk about what they do for the city, but it's events like that where they really shine. Also like to thank all our full-time officers. They worked the parade, the festival, and then obviously normal patrol duties on that weekend. Being as it was a long weekend, it was continuous days of Independence Day celebration. So it wasn't a one-day shot. It was pretty much a three-day shot. They responded to 356 incidents during that holiday weekend. So they were busy. So shout out to them. I know we probably did not answer all of the fireworks calls that people wished that we did. That's probably one of the bigger complaints that we got, but just wanted to point these numbers out. It wasn't for a lack of trying or caring. It was simply just to having a parade, a festival, and 356 calls. I think they did a darn good job, and I'm happy with the way everything turned out. So that's all I got. Questions?
It was a great job. You guys did a great job.
Thank
We
you.
had a lot of people that had to leave after the fireworks, and they got out of here very smoothly. Kudos to your
I'd like to
crew
take
there.
credit for that, but I got to pass that down to my staff and all the officers who worked it. So, but I appreciate that, and I will pass that along to them. All right, thank y'all. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just
Indeed. All righty. Thank you, Pat. Anything else? All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, Mike.
Assistant Chief DeYoung.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. So I do have a short report tonight, since I spent enough time swearing in our guys, which we're very excited to have. Call volume, we continue to be steady with calls. We did have 563 total calls for the month of June, which is right on track to what we did last year. 393 of them were EMS, 4 of them were structure fires. We are still a little bit above where we were last year, so we are still a little bit busier, but we're kind of right on track. We had mutual aid in the city 27 times in June. Brings our total mutual aid for the year at 157. And unfortunately, I'm sure you've seen in the paper, our dive team has been really busy already this year. We've had 5 call-outs this week alone and 2 call-outs today. So unfortunately, dive teams being busy, I urge the citizens to please heed all the warnings. Southern Lake Michigan is not like any other water out there. They need to be careful and heed the warnings when they have beach hazard statements. So with personnel, we do have the 4 new firefighters that started on June 13th. So we were catching up. We also are working on processing 2 new hires. They're down in the process of perf. Unfortunately, we also had 2 firefighters that just resigned. One left us. He is still on his probationary year. He's left us to go to Crown Point to be a firefighter. And another one has been with us for about 10 years, and he left with his family to go to Ohio. So with that, we are still short 3 people. And that's including the 2 people we're processing. So we actually have 5 open spots with that. We're processing 2. We are working with the people on our list. A lot of them are just have 1 or 2 more things that they need to finish up before we can hire them. Hopefully that's coming quick, and then we're going to have to start working on establishing another hiring list. So vehicle status, we've talked about it before, the state of our apparatus. We're still having repair issues causing downtime and repair costs, but luckily nothing this month that was catastrophic. Like I said, quite a few. We had a few rigs down and had some downtime with them and quite a bit. Our budget's hurting, especially in that category. But on a happy note, we did open a couple bids this morning for the new fire engine. We have a spec committee meeting on Thursday to go through those, and at the next Board of Works, we should be able to award that bid and start that process. I do know.
Did they come in where we thought they would come in?
Yeah, one's just under 800,000 and one's just above 800,000. So right about where we thought. We do know there was a in between when we advertised and they came in. There was another price increase in that month time frame because I know they were the one manufacturer that we talked to was talking about $800,000 at the time, and it was above. So still having those price increases, so it's the quickest we can get this locked in, obviously the better. I do know one of the specs or one of the bids said they're talking 26 to 28 months to get it back, so we're still looking at 2 years before we get that. Hopefully it goes a little quicker, but like I said, we're going to award that bid as quickly as possible. As far as the grants, the Assistance to Firefighter grant, the one that we have out for radios and a tower, still no solid news on when that's going to happen. They're talking hopefully within the next month or 2. And then they should award them pretty quickly once that starts. We also still did 454 hours of training this month. One of the trainings that we had, we brought out outside instructors. They came in and they taught our people about residential and commercial sprinkler systems. Residential sprinkler systems are a very great thing. They don't necessarily put the fire out, but they definitely control it to allow the residents to get out of the house, and they're fairly cheap when you're using them to when you put it in with the building of the house. But they came out and did that for us. They did it over a few days, a couple sessions each day. We were actually able to bring members of the surrounding fire departments too, came out to attend the training with us. So it was kind of an outreach where we got other departments in and work with them also. Another thing, going through some statistics, doing a little research, I came across 2001, we opened our Fire Station 1. At that time, we went from having 2 fire engines and 2 ambulances every day to 3 fire engines and 2 ambulances every day. In that year, we ran just over 2,000 calls. Last year, 2021, we ran over 6,000 calls, and we still are doing that with the same apparatus. We've increased our staffing a little bit. We were allowed to hire 2 new people, but we're still doing that with the same apparatus we were 20 years ago. So our guys are still out there working their tails off. So on top of that, so good job, Division Chief Kender. He reached out to NIPSCO, and because of that, we are in the process of changing all our lighting at all 3 stations to LED lighting, which was going to be a huge cost saving once it's done. He's also handy enough where he's been able to do some of that work. So some of the stuff we're going to have to pay somebody to come in and switch out the lights, but he's been doing a lot of work on his own. So I think we paid a total of $700 because some of the lights weren't completely covered by the program. But like I said, we're talking every light bulb in all 3 stations, including the outdoor lighting, all being switched to LED because of Chief Kender. Also last month, we held our annual pinning and award ceremony. I would like to congratulate some of the people that we celebrated. For 20 years of service, we celebrated Battalion Chief Teresa Yanovitz and Battalion Chief Chris Krail, both 20 years of service. We have promotions. Tim Fursick was promoted to engineer, Jason Seifert promoted to lieutenant, and then battalion chiefs, we promoted all 3 of them. Chris Krail, Teresa Yanovitz, and Jeremy Hyman were all promoted to battalion chief over the year. Our firefighter of the year was Master Firefighter, excuse me, Jordan Busey. Our EMS person of the year was Master Firefighter Mike Durak. We also awarded Chief Kender for his work on the LED project and pursuing that, because like I said, that's going to be a great cost savings for us. We celebrated service to the Department of Engineer Chuck Litzkow. As you guys are aware, he's our mechanic and he saves us tons of downtime, tons of money, and he's here every day, all day, doing work for us and cares very much for our fleet. Heart Saver Award, Captain Tom Pfeiffer, Engineer Mike Wordis, Master Firefighter Tommy Ducko, Master Firefighter Stephen Wise, Firefighter EMT Brian Anderson, and Firefighter Paramedic Grant Hunsley. That was in order to get the Heart Saver Award, you have to respond to a cardiac arrest, get pulses back, and they have to be able to then be released from the hospital to normal life. So it's unfortunately, it doesn't happen enough, but it's great when we can get those back. And then the last one was our end of service medals, Lieutenant Jim Talmadge, who retired earlier this year, and Master Firefighter Dave Duttlinger, who also retired earlier this year. So I'd like to congratulate all of them. Outside of that, that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
I would like to say, I would like to thank both departments, both the police and the fire, for 4th of July, that event. Watching the staff participate with the children out there touched my heart tremendously.
Yeah.
And later that evening, there was a young boy that was looking for his parent, and his parent wanted him to walk down quite a bit, and one of the firefighters, no, don't worry about it, I'll walk him down. And it meant a lot, so thank you guys.
Both of our departments full of great men and women. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Barb, it's good to see you again. I know you've been busy down at the marina.
Oh, boy, very busy. Good evening, everybody. I don't have a whole lot to say, but the marina is at full capacity with our regular slip holders. We have 2 slips that are currently available by the launch ramp area for transients that are 25 feet or less. And there's also a couple spaces that are available on the transient wall, but they have no power. One of our current projects that's just started today is we're having 150 feet of sidewalk on the east side. It's A through D docks. The work began today, and the scope of the work is they're going to mud jack and raise the sidewalk. There's 21 sections, and they will prep and caulk in 4 to 7 feet sections with expansion joints. That's to fix the sidewalk that has been undermined by the water runoff from the parking lot area directly east of the sidewalk. It's, since the marina was built in 1996, this is something that was bound to happen. It's a basin, so there's always going to be water runoff. But we're trying to address that problem so the sidewalks, they don't sink anymore. A couple of months ago, I asked for a quotation, since the marina is 25 or better years old, to replace 9 docks with brand-new docks, understructure, and the entire structures, and the quote came back. We do have actually 10 docks, but FDOC was built about 2014, I think, so there's only 9 docks that actually will need to be replaced probably in the next 5 years, because they've reached the end of their life. The breakdown on the docks is $2.2 million. The electrical is going to run between $400,000 and $600,000, and that's based on the raising prices for electrical components and cable. The wood, there's not a problem with getting wood anymore. It's not, not in short supply, but the electrical stuff, is hard to come by. So the availability would probably be about 6 to 9 months on this project, but the total cost being $2.4 to $2.6 million. That's a lot of money, and the marina does not generate that kind of profit. So we're going to have to look at other options.
Barb, on that, I know our slip fees are pretty low compared to other marinas in the area.
Yes, we are raising slip fees.
Okay.
We have a Port Authority meeting Thursday, so we're going to discuss that. I'm thinking maybe 10% to try to, get some more revenue, because our revenue sources are very limited. We don't really have anything besides a small ship store. We don't sell gas. So it's basically just the slips that bring money into the marina. And I'm also working on the grant project with NIPSCO and a company called OEO to replace all the marina lights with LEDs. I've already gotten some of the smaller lights that, you see the fluorescent lights here. So we'll be replacing those in all the bathrooms and the office. But we're looking to replace the lights around the buildings with the newer LED, and also the short poles, what I call the short poles, and then the great big poles. So we'll see how that goes and see. We'll probably have to call in a company to do the work, because I don't have anybody that can crawl up a 30-foot pole, to replace bulbs. So that's a work in process. And also we're still working with Marsh on pursuing the fish cleaning station, the fishing pier, and the parking lot and the entrance improvements. I've requested that Matt Kaiser from Marsh come to our Port Authority meeting Thursday, hopefully that he can give us an update on, where we stand with that. We did install 3 new solar lights along the waterway. There are 3 new buoys that say slow, no wake. So hopefully it's going to slow people down a little bit, and we don't have any, crazy people out there going, wide open. Other than that, I think that's all that I have. That's all I have. Any questions or anything, or none?
No, thanks, Barb. You do a great job out
Okay.
there. I know you're really busy right now, so thanks for coming in.
Yeah, 4th of July weekend. Our weekend started Thursday, actually, so you had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so it was a 5-day holiday. It was pretty crazy. No real problems, though. It was great. Thanks, everybody.
Randy?
Council, Madam Mayor, just street and sanitation, I'd like to also welcome those first responders to the city of Portage, and also our superintendent, so welcome aboard the team there. Now into our report. It was a busy month for June. We had literally over 1,100 phone calls come into the office, and about 1,400 people have driven into our street department for either getting compost or dropping off grass clippings, or just needing other services there. But the streets, we just got our total patcher. It's been working on their streets for about a month right now, and it's been going through areas of the city that's been really needing some addressing. So you could see some of those areas. It's really working well. The employees really are been trained by our assistant, who comes from the toll road and has a very familiar experience with that machine. So it's been really working well, and we just want to thank the council for approving that and adding that equipment to our inventory. Also, the mosquito abatement has been going on. We've been spraying weeds, herbicide spraying there. Our road striping, we just recently picked up another machine, and it's very similar to the current machine that we have now, but it's got very high-tech upgrades to it. So we had that out actually today on a small parking lot, testing, adjusting it. So you should see that on the streets here in the next couple of days. The guys in our sign shop are very excited about that. I even got to ride it today and spray some lines. But the unique thing about this machine is as it sprays, the way it sprays, and then there's pressurized glass beads that spray on top of it, it's almost an instant dry. So like in the old paint machine, you'd have to put cones out there, wait, 5, 10, 15, sometimes a half hour for that paint to dry. This dries within minutes, and it's a great machine that's added to our inventory. For our sanitation, it's been one busy month. We literally picked up one of our biggest months in trash, and that was 1,600 tons we collected throughout the city just in the month of June. So our city is growing, and we could see that in the volume of trash that's at the curb right now. Last year, we continue to monitor our city's recycling program. Last year, we took out of service about 634 recycling toters due to violations, and this year we've been going still at it, so we've collected about 117 recycling toters this year. So we continue to audit our green lids. We are still in suspension with Republic Services with our recycling, so I just want to give that report. So I did send some pictures of that machine, so that's tagged at the end of your email that I sent in earlier. Is there any questions? I could give you I'll give you an update on our grants for our CNG. Those trucks have been ordered. 2 of them, I have gotten response back. We should be seeing a rear loader here possibly in a few weeks. So, and then the other rear loader should be coming in about August or September possibly. And the 2 grapple trucks that we ordered should be here probably in November. So that is equipment is coming. For the other equipment that we ordered through the ARP funds, which was the paint sprayer, we didn't order a mini X loader for our department yard, and that should be here probably in about a month. And then the 1 snowplow, we have word on, it should be here probably the mid-October, beginning of November. So it should be here by winter. So those are some of the updates on the equipment that we've ordered. So we appreciate the council approving those funds for the street department.
Randy, just to clarify, when we talk about, because we're in suspension for the recycling, we are not the only community
No,
that is in suspension.
I've been in contact with other communities, and I'm not going to mention them by name, but they are currently under suspension. So it's not a Portage situation. It is a regional situation. I hate to say it like this, but Americans have gotten lazy in the recycling. So we continue to monitor it.
So on that, right now, we're not paying when that gets diverted to the dump, right? Because we don't pay for our recycling with Republic?
No, we do not pay for any of our recycling.
But we will in the next contract.
Our contract with Republic Services expires in August of 2023. Every contract that has been negotiated with municipalities in the area, they are now paying for their recycling. And when their recycling is turned in and it is found in contamination, it goes to trash. So
Randy, I just want to let people know that because we are in suspension, as the head of the county waste district, you can take your recyclables to the drop-offs. I believe the closest one is over in Burns Harbor, but the Recycling and Waste District, if you go on their website, they can tell you the closest location for you to take your recyclables. And from what I'm understanding is those are still being recycled because they're source separated.
Yes, that is
So
correct.
if you, I mean, if you're like me and you really don't want to have all your recyclables going to the landfill, you can take them to the drop-off, the county drop-off sites.
Yes, we do have a cardboard drop-off site in our yard, so, at the street
And there
department.
also is drop-off capability up at the compost site.
That is correct. They just added those plastic, paper, tin, and cardboard. They do have those recycling bins up there.
So for those of you who don't know, the drop-off site at the compost site is up on Highway 12. It's kind of close to where the NIPSCO station is, so you can see there's a big sign up there. So you can take your recyclables up there. They also, I believe, take books.
Yes, they do. And plastic bags, shopper bags.
Thank you, Randy.
Any questions?
Thanks, Randy.
All right.
Tracy, do you have a report?
I don't have much of one, but I can give you an update on the sanitary. Good evening. So we had a meeting last week with Lockmuller and went through our asset management, which was very interesting. It's just a draft, so there's still more to add to it. And I've been in discussion with them, but it was very interesting and enlightening on everything in the plant. Clarifiers are going good right now. The staff had repaired the one. It's you know, bubble gum taped in every way they could do to get it to work, but they've got it working. With the low amount of rain we've had, it's been great. So we want to keep that this summer. It would be wonderful. We are talking to Commonwealth about the kickoff for the clarifiers for the repair. Of course, with everybody else, everyone's speaking about costs going up. The costs went up on that too. All the supplies are going up. So we met with them today to discuss that and just our plans. We know we don't have to get a construction permit for items, so we can jump it by about 2 months on starting. So that'll help us also. Any questions?
Anything on the SRF grant?
They did send out the preliminary, what the main topic, the main ones that they're doing, and we were number 12. So they start with the first 6. If things start going down, so they funded the first 6, we were put as 12th out of 27, they said. If people drop out, like they can't get it all done, and they don't have the plans, then it keeps dropping to where we can. They said they don't see us not getting some type of funding. So they are confident we will get some type. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Trace. And last but certainly not least, I see her taking notes like crazy back there, is our new superintendent of parks.
I thought I was just listening today, so I don't have I don't have too many updates. I had a really great first week. We have an amazing park staff. It's limited, but they are definitely in it for the right reasons. They love the parks, so I'm excited to lead them and help the city. So I don't have a lot of details yet because
How are we doing with the ball fields, Diane?
well, we need to make improvements and we need more staff because they're being heavily used, which is good at the softball fields. And I know we need to do more and maybe increase prices and things like that. So, but you know, our venues are all rented out, so the parks are being used. These are, you know, good problems to have, right?
So also, I know at the park board meeting, I know Gina was there, they did approve, what was it, an expenditure of about $15,000 to take down some of the dead trees.
Yes, but they unfortunately can't start till August 1st, I believe. So hopefully that'll help soon, and I'm sure there's going to be more behind that and more behind that because that's what trees do. So that is going to be a long-term, forever project of mine.
Didn't mean to catch you off guard. I just thought I'll prep you for the next time when you,
I was taking notes for next time, like, okay, I gotta remember to say this and say this next time. I just thought, maybe not today.
well, you've only been here for a week, so.
1 week, yes, yeah.
But welcome aboard.
All
We're
right,
glad to
thank
have
you.
you.
Thank you.
I wanted to say thank you because you technically didn't start till Tuesday, I believe. But you still volunteered to come in on Saturday and did an amazing job with helping out, so thank you. And welcome.
It was a great opportunity to see the hard work that the city puts into something. I just have enjoyed it for years as a resident, so it was really nice to see the other side. It made me appreciate it even more. So it's beneficial to me, so thank you.
We saw you checking all the garbage can lids.
Where there's people, there's garbage, right?
Welcome aboard, Diane. So under unfinished business, Dan, I believe that was scrubbed, that ordinance 22-09.
Dan, do we need to table this?
No,
or-
we don't. It's not being tabled. Actually, ordinance 2209, the petitioner from Aetna Development reached out and indicated that they were, I'm not sure what that was, but that they've withdrawn their petition at this time, so it doesn't need to be tabled, it's withdrawn.
So we have new business, the 2022 salary ordinance amendment.
Yes, Debbie, could you take that, please?
An ordinance establishing the amount of salaries and compensation to be paid to all appointed employees and officers of the city of Portage, Porter County, of the city of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, for the year 2022, be it and hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the city of Portage, Indiana, as follows. So these are the changes in the police salaries. For the police department, chief goes to $91,941.21, assistant chief, $81,850.64, major, $75,510.18, captain, $71,475.20. Senior master patrolman, that remains the same at $77,599.45. Lieutenant, $65,126.96. Sergeant, $63,167.63. Corporal, $60,602.85. Master patrolman, $59,794.90. First class patrolman, $52,480.33. Probationary patrolman with experience, $50,720.14. This has been read in its entirety.
Motion to suspend?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say.
You have to do a roll.
I apologize. We have a remote attendee tonight, so we have to do a roll call. Nina, would you please do the roll call?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes?
Councilperson Podgorski?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Gully?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
Councilperson Clem?
Pat, it's on you, you're muted. You're muted.
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Is there any discussion? If not, Nina, please call the roll.
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Gully?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
Councilperson Clem?
Yes.
Motion passes. We have a resolution 22-04.
Yes, I will go ahead and read that real quick. Transfer Resolution 22-04, an emergency resolution providing for the transfer of appropriations for several departments of the city of Portage, Porter County, Indiana for the 2021 budget. Is that supposed to be 2022 or 2021? All right, the 2022 budget, and hereby presented to the Common Council for their action and passage pursuant to IC 6-1.1-18-6. Whereas certain extraordinary conditions have developed since the adoption of the existing annual budget for the year 2022, and it is now necessary to transfer appropriations into different categories than was appropriated and is now necessary to transfer appropriations into different categories than was appropriated in the annual budget for the various functions of several departments to meet emergencies. Section 1, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, that the expense of the city government, the following appropriations are hereby transferred and set apart out of the funds herein named for the purposes specified, subject to laws governing the same, such sums herein transferred, unless otherwise stipulated by law. Section 2, where it has been shown that certain existing appropriations have unobligated balances, which will be available for transferring as follows. General Fund, Department City Hall, from other services and charges to supplies, sum $3,547.67. Department Fire Merit, from supplies to other services and charges, $563. Local Option Income Tax Fund, from other services and charges to capital outlay, $2,029.98. Park and Recreation Operating Fund, from other services and charges to credit card transaction fees, $2,162.49. Local Law Enforcement Continuing Ed Fund, from other services and charges to capital outlay, $1,833.08. Park Capital Non-Reverting Operating, from capital outlay to other services and charges, $6,157.62. Marina Operating Fund, from capital outlay to other services and charges, $10,000. From other services and charges to credit card service fees, $3,983.64. Let the record reflect this has been read in its entirety. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Any questions?
I had one. So can we just have an explanation as to the extraordinary conditions and if this is a normal course of business type transaction?
Yes, it's absolutely normal. It's just the verbiage that's required to state in the transfer resolution. If categories go over within the same category as the fiscal officer, I can correct it. But if it's crossing categories, like from supplies, other services and charges, or capital, it takes council approval, so.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? If not, Nina, please call the roll.
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilperson Pugorski?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Gully?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
Councilperson Clem?
Yes.
Moving on, we have the public hearing on annexation matters. Dan?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. So as the council may recall, we had the first part of this two takedown annexation that came before the council before. This is the second phase of that same annexation plan. I believe the developer has a representative here if there's questions, but this is the petition of RCJJ Development LLC, and they are petitioning the city to do the second phase of the annexation. What we're here for tonight is both first reading and to have the public hearing, at which time the public will have an opportunity to speak for or against. When we're done with that, we'll close the public hearing, and then I would anticipate that the second reading can be at our next meeting. In between, I've been advised that the developer intends to visit upon the Planning Commission at their next meeting. I believe they were at the last one, but for some reason they weren't on the agenda. So they are still planning on going in front of the Planning Commission.
Is anyone here to speak for the annexation? Is there anyone here to speak for the annexation? Is there anyone here to speak for the annexation? Hearing none, is there anyone to speak against the annexation? Good evening.
Let's see. Can you hear me okay? This is all a new experience being on this end of things for the most part. My name is Austin Bonta, 2797 Woodward Street. How much time do we get for this? I don't want to be... 2 minutes, right? 3 minutes. Sure. There's an old wives' tale about eating celery. You burn more calories eating celery than you actually get from eating the celery. I wish that was true. It's not exactly as scientifically accurate as I would have hoped, but it's important to keep in mind when we're talking about bringing in new development, residential development, into the city of Portage. I've been here at this meeting listening to issues when it comes to mutual aid with the fire department, record numbers of trash being picked up, fees going up, and it seems to me that the city is in a financial situation which really isn't much of a secret. We got to keep in mind that yes, when you bring in a development, a residential development, you're bringing in tax dollars to the city, but you're also bringing in new expenses. You need to plow the streets, you need to pave the streets, pick up the trash, you got to handle the fire, you got to handle the police needs. And so when you're bringing in a development that's residential, you really got to keep in mind that level of density, that level of intensity. I've been concerned about this annexation when it was brought up for the first phase, based on the fact that the developer was requesting not just the annexation, but for the land to be zoned R4, which allows for the absolute most number of homes, the smallest number of homes, which can be, quite frankly, packed together, you know, pretty tight, bringing in a lot more people and a lot more demands on our city services. The R4 zoning district historically was made to accommodate the eclectic features of the Garrison neighborhood on the west side of the city. It's a fantastic neighborhood. It has some amazing features, including hills, great tree cover, things that make it work where it is, especially because that neighborhood is older than the rest of the city. Using the R4 to create a new neighborhood in an area that doesn't have a lot of tree cover, in an area that doesn't have that same degree of hills, that same sort of community history, that can really lead to a strong, high-dense neighborhood that's going to bring in a lot more demands for the city services. And I'm concerned that it's going to bring in more demand than the money we're actually going to get from it, hence the salary example earlier. Last time this came to you guys with the first phase of the annexation, the Plan Commission recommended that you guys would zone it, if you did do the annexation, as the R1, which is the least dense, most restrictive type of zoning that we have. Most of the open fields in the city that are undeveloped are R1. When developers come in, they then come to the city council looking to go for something a little bit more dense, but not quite as free as the R1, such as R2. I can understand that people might be wondering, we approve neighborhoods all the time in Portage, what's so different about this one? Was that my signal? This really has to do with the type of land itself. So for example, the neighborhood getting built at the intersection of Lute and Airport, that was a field that was primarily R2 already, but the city council actually made it even less intense because they took away the multifamily southern half of the property. And I would also remind the council that in, I think it was 2021, in the fall, there was a developer trying to build an R4 neighborhood at the southeast corner of Airport and Route 6 across the street from where the Kohl's building is. And this council, I believe, rightly shot that down, saying that is too intense a density for that area. This annexation area and what's being asked of it is really not that far from it. An R4 neighborhood to do it new would really be odd to me, but I think that if anything, it's most appropriate at the city center, not at the most southern part of the city. But I also should add that given the expenses the city already has and the need to, as much as we can, pump the brake on new development residentially, I really would hope that you guys would reject this annexation altogether. If for whatever reason you choose to go ahead with it, that you consider a very low-density zoning for it. But primarily, I just ask for you guys to really consider putting a stop to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. Anyone else here to speak against the annexation? Is there anyone else to speak against the annexation? Hearing none, the public hearing is now closed.
So Dan, we don't need to physically read anything, right?
No, we'll address that at our next meeting for the passage of the second reading and then subsequent ordinance passage.
So they have the introduction and adoption of ordinance, first reading ordinance 22-11.
Ferdinand, could you take that for us?
Ordinance 22-11, an ordinance of the City of Portage, Indiana, amending Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code entitled Zoning Map. Be it, and it hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, as follows. Section 1, this ordinance shall amend Chapter 90, Article 5 of the City of Portage Municipal Code and accompanying zoning map in the following manner. The zoning shall be changed from R2, low-density residential, to C2, medium to large-scale commercial on the property identified 16.76 plus or minus acres east of 5822 U.S. Highway 6, and the attached legal description in attached Exhibit A and the Porter County GIS Exhibit B. Section 2, contingencies, there are none. Section 3, conflicting ordinances. Any ordinance or provision of any ordinance of the City of Portage in conflict with the provisions of this ordinance is hereby repealed. Section 4, severability. The invalidity of any section, clause, sentence, or provision of this ordinance shall not affect the validity of any other part of this ordinance, which can be given effect without such invalid part or parts. Section 5, effective date. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and adoption by the Common Council and approval by the Mayor of the City of Portage, Indiana. Let the record reflect that this ordinance has been read in its entirety.
Motion to suspend. Oh, right, it's annex, it's a zoning change. One thing I'll add, just in the ordinance itself, that this was voted on by the Plan Commission on June 6th to send a favorable recommendation to the City Council. 9 members voted yes.
And I believe Attorney Leith is here on behalf of the petitioner if you have questions.
Can you describe exactly where this is? I think I know, but
I can.
I don't have the map.
It's 850 feet of frontage on Highway 6 on the north side, and it is immediately across Highway 6 from Aldi and the strip center to the east of Aldi. So that's almost exactly 850 feet there from Aldi to the muffler shop. It's just extended on the north side then.
Thank you.
It's first reading.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Leith? Okay.
Do we know what's going there yet?
So it's 16 acres, which is quite a lot. The petitioner has an immediate desire to start the development of what would be, we would believe, to be a service and retail shopping area. Would be a car wash facility that would kind of anchor the start of it. From there, it would probably be retail and other service. But we don't have any particular uses from there. All right, very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
At this time, we'll entertain petitions and remonstrances and public input. So if the public has any input, please step forward, give your name and address, and you have 2 minutes. Are there any other matters to come before this council at this time? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, a second. Please call the roll, Nina.
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilperson Podgorski?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Gully?
Yes.
Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
Councilperson Clem?
Thank you, everyone.